Hey everybody, here we go again. This is Cheap Comic Collector, and this is episode 122. So we're gonna go looking through these books right here. We're gonna start with the Convergence issues, as always. Someday we will get through those. This one is Convergence Nightwing / Oracle, and it starts out with this El Inferno landscape, and I don't know what this is. It appears to be from an Elseworld story, perhaps like a Western type thing where the characters were modified to that. And it's got a Hawkman and a Hawkwoman from a different universe, basically slaughtering the Western type characters, from what I can tell. Let's see, we got credits. Gail Simone was the writer, Jan Duursema was pencils, Dan Parsons was the inks, and the art is fantastic. I mean, look at this Hawkman and Hawkwoman there, but these guys are like ruthless warriors. Hawkwoman's in charge, with Hawkman being subservient to her. And they basically slaughter these guys and are ready for the next challenge, which is, of course, the Nightwing's Gotham City. And, you know, you get their usual, we're trapped under the dome, blah, blah, blah. Nightwing's taking out Mr. Freeze. And Mr. Freeze is just very blasé about getting caught. It's like the third time that he's stolen these diamonds. The museum doesn't even set the alarm anymore because nobody cares, because they're all trapped under the dome and nothing matters anymore. So, this was a little confusing to me. Starfire shows up at the same time that Nightwing is basically breaking, you know, telling Oracle that he needs some quiet time, so he's going to sign off. And so Starfire shows up, but it's obvious by what is said that Nightwing and Oracle are supposed to go to dinner that night. So I'm a little confused right now over the romantic relationships. Especially, you'll see what happens later. So yeah, they're hanging out, and it looks like they're an item, really. But then, you know, then it flashes to Nightwing and Oracle, and Nightwing and Oracle are an item. So, a little confused. Talks about how Poison Ivy is producing food for everybody under the dome, and then Nightwing proposes to Oracle. So I don't quite understand what the deal with Starfire was, but anyway, then the thing happens. The Hawk people show up, and there's a fight a little bit, and it gets postponed because they offer to let the Gotham City survive, and their city that they're from get destroyed, as long as they can take over ruling Gotham City and change it so that it's more like their home planet, because they're basically the last survivors of their home planet. So, and it doesn't matter to them what city gets destroyed, because it's not their planet anyway. So Nightwing's supposed to go battle. Oracle sets up a plan without telling Nightwing on how to take him out. And so Nightwing shows up to do battle with the Hawks. Art is just fantastic on these. And so you have to kind of wonder, okay, where's Starfire in all this? Because she's there, we saw her, but she never shows up in this battle at all. And I mean, it's just one city under a dome, right? It's not like it's an entire planet. So did she take, I mean, maybe because the dome lifted, she just took off. I don't know. You know, and then Black Canary shows up. Oracle calls in Black Canary to use her scream over the technological system that the Hawks are using to watch over the entire city. So that helps take them out. And then the Hawk Woman gets mad, so she goes after Oracle. And they figure it out. Nightwing's able to defeat Hawkman, but it doesn't show that. It just shows him showing up with him on his shoulders, so that kind of sucks. You got lots of battles, but then it doesn't actually show the climax, so what the heck. And then, so they're defeated. The Hawkman's dead, I guess. Hawkwoman is offered basically asylum. She can stay there as long as she doesn't cause trouble. And then Oracle accepts Nightwing's proposal. Eventually they get married, and that's the end. So art was great. Storyline, it was okay, but it didn't, certain plot points just didn't make much sense, which seems to be a common thread in some of these issues lately. You kind of expect it in some of the kids' comics, but in like the superhero stuff that's heavy on continuity and everything, you would think, everything's kind of supposed to fit together. So it was weird. It was just kind of sloppy writing, honestly. So anyway, 1975, we got Woody Woodpecker, number 144. I didn't look up to see if these were reprints or not, so I'm not sure. Judging by the story codes, they don't appear to be, because normally in the Dell and Gold Key issues, they would have, like, reprint information in the panels a little bit, like this down here has, 144, this is 144, so sometimes it would say that, but then there'd be the same thing in another panel listing the original printing. And since it doesn't that, I believe these are new. So this one's about Myrtle the Turtle, who they find on her back on the beach. So they save her and feed her, and so she wants to be their friend and be a pet, and she won't leave. And then Woody Woodpecker finds a crook's wallet, and they kidnap him, so he won't go to the cops. And basically, Myrtle the Turtle helps save him throughout the rest of the story. And then the second story, Little Beeper, an automatic car shows up, a talking car, which drives itself. So that's interesting. I mean, I know Disney did that a few times with different things, including a comic book story from, I think, back in the 40s. Might have been 50s, but Disney's done that a few times, but Woody Woodpecker apparently did it also. And it's basically about the car. He gets in people's reactions to it, and so on and so forth. And then he loses control, and he can't stop. His brakes won't work. And at the end, the car gets a speeding ticket, or not a speeding ticket. He gets a ticket for not having a driver's license, because he's a car that drives himself, but he doesn't have a license. So, and then the third story, there was a text story of Woody Woodpecker also called Kitten Capers, which I did not read. Chilly Willy has his own story, No News Blues. He started a newspaper, but can't find any news to report. And then he realizes the big story of the day is that he's closing his newspaper. So he prints one issue saying that the newspaper is folding. And then it's back to Woody Woodpecker again with Yes Man for a Day. And so this was actually the most interesting story. So it's got Wally Walrus running a big business. Woody Woodpecker needs a job, and doesn't think he'll give him one, but he says yes because he's been tricked by this guy who's pretending to be some kind of magic elf, where if he says yes all day, he's going to get a lot of money at the end of the day. So he's basically not supposed to say no to anything. So he gives Woody a job. He loans Woody $100 and so on and so forth. But it's actually all a plot by the con man to come in and sell him a useless good luck horseshoe for like $100,000, which he has to say yes to if he wants to get all the money at the end of the day. So that was kind of an amusing story a little bit. It's nothing great, but it was fun. It was a fun issue. And then we have Psychoblast from First Comics, 1987. This is #1. And it's decent cover. You know, nice looking character there, which I've never heard of. And so it's got this little editorial in the front. It says, basically explains a little bit about the character, which is, if you didn't read this, I read this first, and I usually skip through these when I'm just reading, but since I'd never heard of the character, I thought, I should read it. And it's a good thing I did, because otherwise you'd be completely lost in this story. You would have no idea what was going on if you didn't read this little front page thing first. It explains that the Brian Burke is the supposed to be the main character. He's not in this story. His sister is actually the main character in this story. But he's the one that becomes Psychoblast. And basically, when he falls asleep or gets knocked out or whatever, he becomes Psychoblast, the character. So it's kind of like Sleepwalker from Marvel, when the kid would fall asleep and Sleepwalker would emerge. Sort of like that, except this came first. And so the story starts out with the sister. I think it's his sister. And she's basically hallucinating this plane crash that apparently killed it's believed that it killed their parents. And she's tracking down this guy for another guy. That's this guy right here. That's the guy that becomes Psychoblast. He just seems like a regular guy. She doesn't understand why she's supposed to find him. It doesn't really say that it's her brother. That's why it's important to read this, because it reveals that in there. And excuse me. Ugh, this cold is killing me. And it just kind of continues from there. The guy's a kind of a swinger a little bit. He hangs out in the bar and he picks up women and so on and so forth. So it was an okay story. It just kind of jumps around a lot and you don't really know what's going on. Like I said, if you didn't read that editorial in the front, you would really have just no idea what the heck was going on. So at the end, the guy gets knocked unconscious or whatever, and Psychoblast emerges from these flames. And that's the end of the first issue, basically. And then it's got a couple of preview pages for the second issue. And that's it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't really especially good either. A lot of the stuff, it should have been written so that all that stuff that's revealed in this little editorial page, that should have been the first story. So I'm not sure why they wrote it the way they did. It was kind of odd. But and then last but not least, from 2016, we have the Extraordinary XMen #2. Now, I put off reading this one because I had read #1 a little while back, and it wasn't that great. This was a little better, actually. I enjoyed this one more. It revealed, it actually caught you up to date on the credits page, which the first issue didn't do at all, so you were kind of lost in the first issue. This one actually tells you what's going on with the Terrigen mist from the Inhumans, going around and depowering mutants and making them sterile and so on and so forth. So basically, Storm's still trying to put a team together. So Colossus and Magic are trying to recruit Nightcrawler, so they're still trying to track him down. Storm and Iceman are meeting with Old Man Logan, who keeps flashing back to a bunch of dead X-Men. Jean Grey's hanging out in a bar, kisses this guy, and after turning down membership in the X-Men last issue, said she just wanted to lead a normal life. But then close by, this guy is getting harassed as a mutant, so she goes and saves him, which freaks out the guy she was kissing. And then she basically wants to offers the mutant help. The mutant's like, I'm not a mutie, I'm an inhuman. And so he runs away from her too, because she's and so she's just left standing there like, what the heck, and then it goes back to X-Haven, which is the headquarters of the mutants at the moment, the refuge that Storm has created for mutants. And Forge is there. They found Nightcrawler's tail, so they give it to him to put on ice while they track him down. They end up in the sewer, tracking him down, and are fighting people. Meanwhile, Storm and Iceman come in and are reporting to Forge about Old Man Logan, and then let's see. So you got Colossus and Magic battling some people. Mr. Sinister shows up as behind all of it. They still haven't really found Nightcrawler yet. And then because Magic gets knocked out, she's the one that's been putting up all the safeguards and stuff for the mutant retreat, and so it turns out that that's located in Limbo, and now that all their guards are down, all the demons and stuff can come in to where the mutants are. And then it flashes back to Old Man Logan. He's getting telepathic messages from Jean Grey, and it shows that in the future he slaughtered all the X-Men. He was tricked into killing all his friends in the X-Men. And then that was pretty much it. Jean Grey shows up, on a bus where he is, and that was the end of that issue. So that was more fun. It was a better issue. It kind of told you what was going on instead of just leaving you lost. And I have quite a few of those in a run, and I haven't been reading the run because the first issue wasn't that great. But now I have more hope with the second issue, so could be better. Favorites, hard choice. Nothing really jumps out as being extraordinary. Not even the extraordinary X-Men. But they all had their moments. Psychoblast was actually pretty weak story-wise. Art-wise, Convergence Nightwing / Oracle was the best by far. Woody Woodpecker was fun. I guess I'll go with Nightwing. I want to say Woody Woodpecker because it was a fun read, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was just kid nonsense. So we'll go with Nightwing. It had fantastic art in it, and the writing wasn't that bad. It just had a couple little glitches that didn't make sense to me. So thanks for watching, everybody. Tomorrow we'll be going. What will we be doing tomorrow? Auction wins, I think. Yeah, we're going to be going through this box here, actually. If you watched my last live stream where we celebrated 200 subscribers, we did, you watched me participate in an auction that was all Marvel, and I talked about the auction where I did all DC Comics. So that's this box. This was all DC Comics from that auction. Got the Wednesday comics that I showed off a little bit during that live stream. We'll be taking a closer look at those. And it's just a lot of DC Comics. Paid $1 a piece. Some of them were newer, some of them are older. And some Halloween specials, some Justice League. Yeah, so we'll be going through those tomorrow. So thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a great one, guys.